Page 37, Moonlight and Orchids. At the top of the page they give a little spiel about what to do, a few things before you start playing a piece. Generally they're the things I go over most of the time. I forget sometimes, but you want to look at the time signature, you want to look at the key signature, you want an idea of what it's like. I look at the length of the piece. How long is it? How many repeats and things does it have throughout? The general form of the piece and the whole bit. And that's basically what they're talking about, is time signature and key signature. This piece is in the key of A major. It's got 3 sharps, 4/4 time. In the right hand, let's go over this here. You're starting out the 4th finger on the C sharp. Rhythm 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 1 and 4 and etc. If the rhythm is causing you problems, then I recommend you go back to one of the previous level books, like maybe the 1st or 2nd book, and go through those again and make sure you can get rhythms. Count out the rhythms, whatever they are, okay. Most of the time you're going to be in this position. You move around a little bit, because in the 2nd measure your thumb's got to come down to the E. I don't care for the phrasing the way they've done it. As far as I'm concerned, that E in the 2nd measure, the last note, is part of the phrase. The next, I would connect it to the, it's like a pickup. It's all one. See, in the 2nd line, goes straight down in the 2nd measure, it's an F sharp. They put that as part of the phrase. So I think the 1st line should be the same. It's part of the phrase. And you lift up between the phrases. So the 2nd measure, the 1st line is here. Lift up after the A before going on, then connect them. Then the 2nd line, you got to come up here, 3rd finger on the D. It's between a phrase, you just lift up and move. So you're here, move. And again, it's the end of a phrase, just lift up and move, down. 3rd line is like the 1st line, except for the ending of it. The ending on a B instead of G. And then for the last line, I recommend a 3rd finger on the F sharp, and then cross over 4th finger on the C sharp. Then lift up at the phrase, like so. For the left hand is mostly broken chords. It's here, E, F sharp, rest, remember the rest, play the rest. You play a rest by being quiet, that's how you do it. Now, in the last measure, the 1st line, you're here. And then 2nd line, you got to reach down and put your 2nd finger on the B. There's no break. You don't lift up in the left hand. There's no phrasing there. It's all legato. It's all connected. In the 2nd measure, the 2nd line, and then here, E, B, or E, D, and then 2 on the C sharp. And this is all legato, etc. Then the last line, let's jump down there. You're here, then 1, cross over for the F sharp, and then 1 again, and then a 1 again. Could offer other fingerings for it. Let's just use this one. This is a relatively slow piece. It says cantabile at the top, which is a light singing type style. And that's for the right hand. That's for the melody. The left hand has to support it. So when you put it together, we want to hear the right hand. If I play both hands the same, you'll get this. It's yuck. A lot of people play it that way. Play the right hand out, make the left hand soft. Here. talk about this pedal. I'd like to make a few suggestions on the pedal. As usual, I think they're over pedaling things. I'm sure a lot of this is done here just to keep the pedaling simple for you, but I would like to make some changes. First off, you could play this whole thing without pedal just fine. But they've got it in there, so let's try it. In the first measure is legato pedal, so we're going to push the notes down, then the pedal. In the third beat, we're going to push the notes down and then change the pedal. Lift it up on the first beat of the next measure, and I would not pedal the second measure at all. Because we want to hear the phrasing, we want to hear the rest, the pedal would cover all that up. So the third measure, again, I would not pedal the third measure because I don't want to blur this. No, just don't pedal it. Then you can pedal the last measure, then lift up with the right hand because we have a break in the phrase. Then second line, first measure, you legato pedal that. The second line is like the first line. You can don't pedal. Actually, with the second line, I wouldn't pedal any of the rest of the line because there's just too much going on. Now you can get away if you want to is pedal the last two beats of the third measure. So you hear if you want to. Then third line, pedal the first measure. Don't pedal the next two measures. Actually, I wouldn't pedal the last measure either. Last line, pedal the first measure. And finally, they tell you not to pedal them. You can pedal the last measure. So finally in the last line they're getting around to tell, by the way, don't pedal these measures. Well, I would do the same on all these other lines. It's just too mushy. If I pedal it the way they're telling you, this is what it sounds like. Etc. This is what I'm suggesting. So you pick your pedaling that you want, take a pencil and mark it in as you need to, and you decide. But I recommend the less pedaling the better. You know, less is more type thing.